It is the Artismal Pickles, everyone. It is the Artismal Pickles, everyone. It is the Artismal Pickles, everyone. Sit down so you can stand up. Buckle your seatbelts. It is the Artismal Pickles, everyone.
Episode 2.
Good day and welcome to another episode of the Artismal Pickles podcast. Unfortunately, co-host McGacken was unavailable for this episode, so instead I recruited an expert in the field of mangroves and mangroves alone. Please welcome Henry McClintock.
Hello everyone. Yes, Isaac. I'd consider myself a bit of a mangrove enthusiast.
Now, Henry, I myself am a mangrove enjoyer, so can you please explain to our viewers what a mangrove is and where they can find one?
Mangroves are salt-tolerant trees that have adapted to living in harsh coastal environments. These mangroves are found in intertidal zones of tropical and subtropical regions. Since they are capable of living in salt water, they live at the edge of land and sea. We're pretty lucky as many mangrove ecosystems are found in Australia.
So basically, in other words, mangroves are pretty cool. But is there anything you can tell me and the viewers about mangroves that we don't already know?
Well, Isaac, as a mangrove expert, I'd say I have a couple of facts up my sleeve.
Well, Henry, it'd be good of you to tell us.
Did you know that mangroves act as nature's natural storm barrier?
Really?
Yep. They're such important and amazing ecosystems. Mangroves are effective and natural storm barriers as they reduce the water levels during a storm. Their massive
Damn.
root systems slow down and reduce the energy of storm surges.
Damn, that's crazy. Anyways, in this segment we'll be going over the abiotic and biotic factors of the mangrove ecosystem. Now, Henry, since you're the expert in the room, would you like to explain some of the abiotic and biotic factors?
Sure thing, Isaac. Let's go over the animals that call mangroves home. As mangroves are located on land and water, many fish and sea animals live in the mangroves. One of these fish is a mangrove red snapper. They're on average about 25 centimeters long, but they're able to grow up to 104 centimeters, being quite a large fish.
Really? You'd think it'd be pretty heavy then.
Well, you'd think so, but actually not. The mangrove red snapper only weighs up to about 5 kilos. For its size, the snapper is pretty light.
Really? Only 5 kilos? It's definitely extremely light for its size. What do they eat to stay that size?
Pretty much just what any other fish eats. Other fish, crustaceans, gastropods, mollusks, and sometimes even jellyfish.
Well, now I want to see one for myself, but instead I think you ought to tell us about the abiotic factors of the mangrove ecosystem instead.
Too easy, Isaac. We can pretty much just break these down into a couple different categories that make up the mangrove ecosystem. Number one being temperature. Usually for mangroves to be in a sustainable area, the water is usually about 24 degrees Celsius in the warmest month. And two being precipitation. Mangroves usually rain about 700 millimeters.
Well, Henry, as you have told us, mangroves are actually pretty interesting. But recently we've been responsible for damage against many ecosystems, with mangroves being included among that list. What do you think about this?
Oil spills, human error. Leaking liquid petroleum into the ocean is a form of pollution. Oil spills can kill plants and animals, destroy their habitats, and affect salinity levels, which can kill mangroves.
Right. So if hypothetically the mangrove ecosystem were to disappear, what could we expect to happen to the rest of the world?
Well, hypothetically, the loss of mangroves would be catastrophic. With the loss of trees, it would release large amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which would contribute to global warming.
Well, as we all know, global warming is already at pretty bad, so we definitely don't really want to make that any worse, especially for our mangroves. But is there anything we can do to prevent this from happening?
Just simple things like saving water, not wasting it, buy better light bulbs like LED ones as they use up to 80% less energy. Another thing you can do is speak up. Tell the people that global warming is becoming a larger and larger threat. We need to save the mangroves and other ecosystems, of course.
Wow, now everybody at home better listen to Henry's ideas, otherwise we might regret it. They're not even that difficult to pull off, or expensive for that matter. Anyways, Henry, thank you for being on my show. Now get out.
It was
Now.
a pleasure, Isaac.